Now, India churns out more than 1,000 movies each year, which makes its film industry the largest in the world. And it's not just Bollywood which rules the roost. Regional movies too are big money spinners. But despite a massive audience, why does the country have a relatively small number of cinema halls? Well, Samir Hashmi caught up with Ajay Bijli, the chairman of PVR Cinemas, India's largest multiplex company, and asked him just that.
The reason has been really there's no rapid growth in infrastructure at all. For the longest time, the laws did not permit multiplexes to come in because we had a very high entertainment tax regime. We had cinema building bylaws which were very archaic. So for the longest time, the whole mall culture didn't start. The shopping centers didn't come. There was no infrastructure land available to actually build the multiplexes. But you're right, in terms of number of movies, we make about highest films in the world. But there's a huge mismatch between the supply side and the facilities for people to watch movies. But now it's going to change. Although it's not against that rapidly changing as it is in China and the US, but still we are seeing some improvement happening.
Now, it's interesting you spoke about China because at this point of time, the number of screens in India and China are almost the same. But the pace at which China is adding movie screens, they might catch up with the United States in the next 7 to 8 years. Why can't India do that?
Because China is rolling out 3,000 screens a year, and India is rolling out just about 300 screens a year. So it's just the pace of development, infrastructure, shopping malls. These are the places which are taking too much time in India to build. And plus, it's still, smaller towns are there where basic other needs first have to come up. Roads, electricity, power, lots of other things have to come, water supply, before one can imagine, putting up new built multiplexes. So India will take its time. But the good news is that the opportunity for growth is huge, number one. Number two, the supply of films is also huge, and the appetite for people is insatiable to watch movies.
Now, in India, most multiplexes are located inside shopping malls, which means that your industry is highly dependent on the health of the real estate sector. Why can't India have stand-alone multiplexes like many other countries in the world?
Land is too expensive, funny enough, and if there is a land bank available, then all the real estate people would be there to buy that land. So it's very difficult for a multiplex operator to compete with real estate developers to pick up a piece of land and build a standalone. So you need the overall car parking facilities, you need the destination factor to build multiplexes. So I think it's much better to be in a mall where you're on a third floor or the fourth floor, where rentals are also much lower.
This industry is growing rapidly, but then you have a lot of international players that are showing interest. For instance, Mexico-based Cinepolis has established itself here. They're expanding aggressively. How's that going to change the game, especially for domestic players like you?
The market is so untapped that it's good to have 2-3 players and who are putting each other on their toes. And we're also learning from them. I mean, they've got a huge, rollout of screens of 2,000, 3,000 screens in Mexico and Brazil and all these places. So it's the same challenge, that you have other people as well. But we have to be on our toes. We have to make sure that technology-wise, experience-wise, we're the best in the world. So, me, my team, we keep traveling all over to see what is the technology being used, what is the consumer experience.
Now, interestingly, there aren't many multiplexes in the country, but yet they are the prime revenue generators for movie makers. So in that sense, your industry wields a lot of influence. Has that also changed the way movies are being made now? What kind of content is being put out?
Actually, very difficult for us to influence how a producer wants to create content. So I think the influencer is really the consumer. So I think the market is there for both type of movies. You have these big blockbusters with superstars of the Indian cinema, and they're also there. And then you have these smaller movies also. So what multiplexes do, are they providing an opportunity, because the seating capacities are staggered, to release small films. And have a small release of 200 prints, 300 prints. That never used to happen earlier. We are the conduit between really the filmmaker and the film goer. Difficult to influence these guys. They do their own thing.
Ajay Bijli speaking to Samir Hashmi there. Well, that's about all we've got time for. Do join us again next week. In the meantime, check out our website, bbc.com/business. And for more from here in India, go to bbc.com/India. I'm Yogita Limai in Mumbai, and from everyone on the team, thanks for watching. Goodbye.